wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. Yeah, we Ric Flairing on them niggas. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairing, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death, I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops and find to these Urkels that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on them niggas. We Ric Flairing on them niggas.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Face, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Ric Flairing on them.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's Backpack, Capital One. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the SWAC, pull up where you at. No cap if the Brody is speaking the soft facts. My advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeants are with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the least. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on? We're back Monday morning, evening, Monday evening. All right. You already know what you're watching. You're watching OFFScript. I'm your boy Scotty. First and foremost, if you did not see the shirt, Guess who sent me something today? Guess who? Andrew Buddy! You see it? You see it? I'm part of the fam. They reached out to me, said, Scotty, we appreciate the support of our son. I said, no problem. They said, we'd like to send you something. I said, no problem. It came in the mail today. I said, you damn right I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna wear it today. Andrew Buddy, you already know what it is, all right? So I'm part of the fam. Listen, I'm in there. I'm in there. Come on, man. I'm in there. All right, you already know what it is. It's the after show with my boy Kofi Hemmingway. We'll get right to it. Let me go through some quick announcements, and I'm going to bring him on. You know he's a soothsayer. You know he's going to tell it like it is. You know he's going to give you some predictions that you didn't even know was going to predict, but it's going to be predictable. That's what he does, all right? All right, real quick, birthday shout-outs to my girlfriend's mama Stinson. I know you down at Grand Lux. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Sorry I couldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? And shout-out to subscriber's wife, MESHA. All right, shout out to you. It's your birthday today. Scorpio season. You already know what it is. Shout out to Kofi's wife. His wife is also, it's her birthday today. I saw the post. So shout out to Mr. Hemingway's wife as well. All right, let me bring him on for that. Yeah, shout out to your wife, Mr. Kofi. Shout out to her. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to her. You're on mute, but I'm gonna keep going through my announcements. Make sure you follow my OFFScript page on Facebook. I just started it today. Make sure you go find it, go follow it. All right. So any crazy videos, all my cut ups, I'm gonna put it on there, and you can share it to all your friends, family, whatever. All right. So y'all Bammers can get off my personal page. I don't need y'all knowing what I be doing. All right. I move different. Okay. All right. Upcoming shows. Wild Out Wednesday, but we gonna do the flip of it. We gonna add the bands too. So if you've been a band member, part of the Sonic Boom, part of the Human Jukebox, you can call in, talk your mess as well. All right, that's Wild Out Wednesday. Bands are included. All right, I'm not a band head just yet, but they have been moving me over to that side. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm not a band head yet, but they moving me to the side. And also, a couple more things. You already know the OFFScript podcast is up and running. Like I said, updates of new episodes, old episodes is all coming through. Make sure you check that out. It's on Apple and Spotify. Pretty much if you love the YouTube show, you'll love the podcast. And if you hate the YouTube show, well, you're going to hate the podcast. Okay. All right. And last but not least, listen, channel update. I was on my first SWAC coaches call today. I was in there being mighty professional, asking the big boy questions that I do. You know what I'm saying? I can't bring all the smoke. It's not my platform. You know what I'm saying? I got to get a little corporate on them. I had to put my tie on today. I mean, okay, Coach, Coach Maynard, how would you feel? I couldn't be me. But I still try to hit him, still try to hit him with the jab, you know what I'm saying? But had a great time. Appreciate all you guys that reached out to me, said they heard me. Appreciate you guys and all the thanks and all that like that. Now let's get to this show. Mr. Hemingway, I know you had a good weekend.
Yes, sir. Me
see,
and you.
I can't even hear you. I can't even hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Yeah, we had a great weekend. We had a
See, that's what happens when you fam you. They don't know how to work their technology. Can't hear you. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. That was on me. That was my fault. It was on my side.
Oh, so you muted me out.
Yeah, that was on me. My bad.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Bruh, you had me all. Then you need to apologize to my institution and everything.
Yeah. I
you
apologize.
Just gave us, you was trying to be all funny.
That was on me. It was on me. I take the blame. It was on me. It's on me. On my fault. That's my fault. My bad. I couldn't hear you. They could hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. Well, I was saying me and you, your mama and your cousin too. Yes, sir.
Yo, why y'all this way? Look, listen.
I used to live in the A, so you didn't get it today, bro. But
he said two prophets. When he said two prophets, I was like, this boy needs to be something needs to happen. This dude is different. That Mr. Campbell is stupid, bro. I was like, God dang. But that's how y'all make him down there in Florida. I mean, that's how y'all make him at fam.
Yeah, man. But we had such a amazing time down there. I mean, the vibe was just great. Jag Nation was cool. about 90% of Jag Nation. Then there's the other 10% that you know, kind of tried to throw stuff at our band and, you know, be a little ignorant. But for the most part, Jag Nation is cool. And we had a great time. The tailgating atmosphere was just amazing. We had our own setup. Everybody eating, everybody vibing, hugging. It was like a big family reunion, man. It was great.
That's
all
good.
the way through. A little chilly, but it was good, man. That means fall is here. So yeah, so all of that just really picked up, man. It was a rivalry game, just big stuff, man. I'm excited.
That's what's up. You know, y'all came out with the dub. Congratulations. I picked y'all anyway. So, you know, I'm over here happy, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it is what it is. Now let's get into these week games and let's get your opinions about. So we're going to start off with the blackout game, which actually was pretty interesting. All right, which actually ended up being pretty interesting. And the shocking part about it, and it's the same thing I said on the coach's call that I was on today, was that I asked Coach Fobbs, I said, it's funny, your offense got going and your defense ended up being what led you to a loss, which has not been Grambling's mystique at all. So I didn't understand it. And it seems like Grambling cannot get all three phases together to get a win.
Well, Thick 36 must have been in the building and everything, messing with their defense. That's what happened. She liked all that press she got down there in Tallahassee and went over there. Thick 36 was at that game. Right, Coach Fobbs? Okay, I'm just playing. All right, so the deal is, this is just the cycle of what it means to rebuild instead of reload. They lost a lot of experience. They lost a lot of things. So you're dealing with young players, and sometimes those young players are geared in. They're geared up and they're checked in and dialed in and all that other stuff. But then other times they're not. And this was one of those times where I believe they bought into their own press and believed that UAPB sucked and it was going to be an easy game. And it wasn't. And then by that time, you know, UAP got their little mojo back and now you're in a dogfight unnecessarily.
And it's funny you said that because Skyler Perry looked like the SWAC championship form in this game. It looked like this is something that they should have been doing from the beginning, using a lot of his legs. I mean, I think he had 14 rush attempts for 160 yards with 2 touchdowns on the ground. The quarterback.
Now, going back, like Alcorn and UAPB did not play in the spring. So there was no
UAPB did. UAPB
no, Alcorn did not play UAPB in the spring.
Right, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, because Alcorn was off, but UAPB did play Grambling, and they slaughtered Grambling, and that game was not close. So I think also, again, Grambling buying into their own press, you know, thinking that, hey, this is just the new year and UAPB just sucked. I think UAPB was like, we slaughtered these guys in the freaking spring. We ain't got nothing to be scared of. We know how to beat this team. We know what's going to work against this defense. We know what's going to happen. And, you know, his athleticism killed him in the spring. You know, he was making plays. And his athleticism did it again. So, you know, they did what they had to do. Absolutely.
So my thing is that what I kind of got from the game is, and what really kind of made me upset was, where was this Skyler Perry before? Like, why were you asking Skyler Perry to throw the ball 30 times where I think he went, if I'm mistaken, I think he went like 11 of 16 or 11 of 18 for 150 yards or 143 yards, had another 160 on the ground running. That's 300 of total yards just from your quarterback. You can win games like that. You can win a lot of games like that. You do that in the Alcorn game, you win that game. You see what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that. I'm surprised it took them this long to kind of understand what Skyler Perry's strengths were and where they needed to keep him in the lane. And I felt they tried to make him be something he wasn't.
Sometimes that happens with coaches. You know what I'm saying? Just every once in a while it happens, but they may have figured it out somewhat. But I'm going to contribute a lot of this just to the fact that Grambling's team is not seasoned yet. They're not in championship form. They had a very emotional week down there in Tallahassee. And, you know, dealing with all that stuff and then playing a UAPB team, which is a lot. I want to say that atmosphere is a lot like Valley from the standpoint that you're not going to have a a packed house, you know, all the time. So, you know, you don't have that energy to feed off of and really you have to find your own strength. And for young people, sometimes that's not easy.
Facts.
You know, it's not easy, you know, and you're not necessarily playing for anything anymore. So, you know, even last week when they came to brag, they were actually playing for something. It was like, hey, we still have a chance. We still have an opportunity. But then going forward, it's like, well, dang, you know, we done lost that game. Young people is like, you know, are we cashing in? Are we waiting till the Bayou Classic? And, you know, sometimes people just get caught looking over, man, and not totally divested in. And then by then it's too late.
I think they're definitely just they're looking at from here on out. They're just Bayou Classic or bust. That's what it is for Grambling.
Southern's gonna beat them boys ridiculously silly. It's not gonna be a close game again. And you know, like last week when we were talking, we were like, hey, you know, I was like, man, now I was like, you know, is Coach Fobbs on the hot seat? Now last week I was like, no, he ain't on no hot seat. No, they'd be crazy to just get rid of that man. But now they done lost the UAPB, and I saw the stove turn on a little bit.
It's preheat.
I saw that primer hit that stove, and I saw that knob turn a little bit. I'm like, bruh, like, yeah, Fobbs, bruh. You know, now stability is key for a program, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think people get rid of somebody without having a plan to bring somebody else in. I do think that if they stick with Fobbs, he'll have an opportunity to have a solid recruiting class, and this year's group will be more seasoned for him to develop again. If they're starting afresh with a brand new coach, brand new staff, it's not gonna be an instant turnaround. Even though the cupboard's not bare, it's still not going to be an instant turnaround, barring some major thing like, you know, and again, I know Dion is the hot hire and everybody's like, oh, blah, you know, but as I've been saying, I've heard some other people say there is only one Deion Sanders. There's only one. And he's been a marketing genius from the very beginning, even in his days at Florida State. So if you're going to get somebody with that kind of energy, Grambling needs somebody in there that's going to provide some measure of stability, that wants to be there, that can handle that atmosphere, handle the alumni, handle all of the expectations. And Fobbs can actually do that. He's done that. It's just a rebuilding season, just like it is at Clemson. Dabo Swinney is rebuilding. He didn't think he was going to have to rebuild, but guess what? He said that stuff about Trump, and the black people was like, bro, you know, I ain't sending my child to you no more. So he's in a rebuilding stage. He's in a rebuilding stage. Heavy. And Fobbs is just in that little season right now. So you just gotta endure it.
Listen. You know what a season is? A season is like, oh, this is a down season. No, it's the last 4 years. He's been trying to get right ever since my point. Ever since Devontae Kincaid has stepped off campus, he has been trying to get right. And then Devontae left. Coach Dooley left, and he's been trying to get back ever since, and it has not been the same.
But people think that, again, you know, when we look at these things, you know, you look at Nick Saban's sustainable success. He's got money behind that program. Anything that he asked for, he can ask for anything, and it's gonna freaking happen, right? Mm-hmm. So he has his pick of the litter, and his eye for talent is unmatched, right? So he's going to pick the right person that's going to be in there. You know, QBs leave, here comes the next one. QBs leave, here comes the next, because people know they're going to get coached up. He's going to find a coordinator. He has the eye for who's going to fit on his staff. He has the eye for the personnel that's going to play for him. Everybody else is kind of like, boom. Jimbo Fisher won that national title with Jameis, and after that national title,
ain't been the same.
Ain't been the same. You know, because the quarterback makes everything work. So you have to have that person that understands how and who's going to fit in that system. Because here's the thing that I'm questioning, and this is what kind of got that stove to turn it for me. Because Higgbottom is balling out at Tennessee State. You know, he's doing a good job. And he was at Grambling, and I, you know, because I saw the talent. I was like, the boy is talented. Like, you know, like, what is the big deal? Why are people so freaking, you know, frustrated? Just be patient and teach the dude what he needs to do, you know, because we want the phenom, but who wants the process?
Yeah.
And you get Hugh in there working with him, showing him what to do, how to play the game, to utilize his strengths, and he's doing great.
Doing outstanding. Outstanding. Right. Now, next up. Upset alert.
Yes.
When I tell you this was so funny, and I'm not all the way laughing because I picked Alcorn to win this game and I thought they would win it handily. But real question, is this the beginning of the end of Alcorn, of their dynasty, of their complete just run away? Like, they've been running away with the East, now they're over the West. And what I'm trying to say is that teams are coming for, teams are not scared of Alcorn anymore. We can say that.
They were never really scared. I just think that, you know, my man who was there, what was that coach name before McNair? Yeah, Hobson devised a structure and a system that worked for that school. And he brought in players, he got people to buy in, and they have a very good, you know, they got a strong atmosphere that's at that stadium. They didn't really have a whole lot of home games this year like they normally do.
Oh, so because they held out in the SWAC, they held out in the spring.
Yeah. So now you got to be a road warrior, and when you travel like that, it's not only the mental wear and tear of having to be on the road all the time, it's the physical wear and tear that comes against you as well. You know, and then again, I think sometimes, again, a team like Alcorn, who's won all these championships, sometimes you begin to believe your own hype to the point where you believe your team is better than it really is. I think this right now, their team is kind of like in a rebuilding state. And at the same time, you know, everybody's really gunning for them because, you know, they was like, the championship is going through Lorman. Well, guess what? It ain't coming through Lorman no more. So
I can't say they're rebuilding. I can't say that because you have a legit, you have a legit quarterback. You got some dope receivers. You got a good running game. They're not in a rebuilding phase. Here's
why I said that they're rebuilding, because their line play and their physicality
is not there.
It's not there. This is not a championship defense, and we saw that in game one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, North Carolina Central was doing a number of different things, from special teams to the way that they were running the ball. There was a different nature. Even they just looked, and, you know, we contributed at first. Well, they hadn't played a game in 600 days, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then here comes UAPB, who looked noticeably faster than Alcorn. Texas Southern challenged those guys. And it's been pretty much like the same thing every single week, you know. And then they go down there to Baton Rouge. They play a Southern team that is extreme, that's talented, you know, that has the talent and the ability to run the football. And that has been the Achilles heel of Alcorn really all year long. Their defense is just suspect. It's not a championship. And that's why I say that they're rebuilding, because ultimately when you win championships, your defense has to play at a very high. You need quarterback play, and you can have that all day long, but a good defense will shut down a good offense, I would say 8 out of the 10 times, if not 9.
I think what I'm seeing from Alcorn and what has been their calling card for the past this season is just the consistency or the continuity of that team and the trust that they have between one another, that has allowed them to win the games that they've won. But if we're being really, really honest, they've been in a lot of close games they probably shouldn't have been. And if you can start with the UAPB game, I mean, you see what UAPB is now, and they barely won that game. So they have always been playing this double dutching type of style of a team. You just don't know what you're going to see. But at the end, I've always bet on McNair having his team ready to play in these big games. And for them to look, I say they looked ahead. We let's be real. They looked ahead. They looked ahead.
Now, again, Cookman has also been in those close games. It just went the opposite way, right?
Fair.
You know, so Cookman has been one of those teams. Every single game they've been in, they could have beaten Alabama A&M. They were in it against Jackson State. They should have beat who?
PV. They was in the game with PV.
They could have beaten Prairie View.
Yeah.
They could have beaten Mississippi Valley. They could have won those games. They could very easily have a winning record in the conference. But
easy, yeah.
You know, they just kind of did things that losing teams do at the end. You know, making those mistakes, not making the third down, not being in the right play call, not putting their best people in position to make plays. But the team has been talented. It's an extremely talented football team. They are fast, they are quick, they are scrappy, they are tough. And if you go in there and you're expecting this team that's just not going to compete, that's not Bethune. They're going to give you their all. They're going to play scrappy. They play hard. And they believe that if they continue to fight, if they continue to scrap, that it's going to turn in their favor. In this game, they did.
I mean, for me, the game turning was 21 points in the third quarter. I'm looking like, what? I was super. I'm like, dang. I'm like, when? I'm like, hey, that can't be rocking though. That can't be rocking. That can't be rocking though. That was the big change of the game. Next up, Valley, Alabama A&M. Now I had this game on upset alert. It did not go my way. I didn't think they were going to get beat this bad. And what I've taken from this whole experience is I think the best defensive player on Valley is their field. That's what I took from it.
You know, here's the other thing. Maynard's a good coach, right?
Yeah.
He's a good coach. He has been around. This guy who got to the finals of the Division II, so he's not a dummy.
Yeah.
He knows how to get his players in position to make plays. I think Valley, in terms of passing attacks, Alabama A&M still pretty strong. They're still up there with a senior leader like Akil Glass. And if they get in a rhythm, they can be very, very dangerous. I think that they figured out defensively during that bye week what they need to do to be successful, what they need to do to finish games. And now I think they're in the strength. But I think also Mississippi Valley invested a lot of emotional energy into Alcorn, into FAMU, and definitely into Jackson State. Yeah. And so you come into that game against Alabama A&M thinking that, hey, you know, well, we can handle these guys, blah, blah, blah. And again, Valley is building a championship culture. They haven't gotten there yet. And all it takes is one or two plays where you're mentally not there, or you're one or two plays where you're not in position, and all of a sudden you're down 14 points. Yeah. You know, you're down 21 points, you know, which is what an Akil Glass or a Maynard coach team will do to you. They'll put pressure, they'll score in bunches, and then Valley doesn't have the type of offense that has the ability to immediately come back from any kind of deficit like that. So
not that heavily. And what I think, when you take an Alabama A&M team that does not have turnovers, not many teams that can beat them. I mean, really, if they don't shoot themselves in the foot 9 times out of 10, there's not too many teams that can go toe-to-toe offensively with them and keep up with them at a high rate. So, but it's the turnovers, it's the stopping up in the defense. And I told Coach Maynard in the press conference, I said, your defense has made strides to stop those big plays and make teams have to methodically move down the field. And I think the switch of the defensive coordinator has helped Alabama A&M in some aspect enough to cut down on those bonehead plays that you're just like, yeah, you're just like, how is he that open? You know?
Well, you know, yeah, even against Jackson State, it was the turnovers against Jackson State that did them in, and they weren't able to match Jackson State's intensity. I think that, you know, had Alabama A&M been able to cash in on that first drive where they were moving the ball, it
would have been a different game.
It would have been a different game.
It could have been a different game.
That game switched right there on that play, and that was that.
Yeah, it never came, and they never got grasp of it again. Next up, Alabama State and Prairie A&M. Now, this probably next to the Alcorn game was the biggest shocker of me. And if you weren't watching this game, Alabama State was up at the half 20-10. All right. So they were really, really controlling this game. And my thing is Travis Pearson, is he making a bid to become the head coach of this team? Because I would say to hold PV underneath 24 points, that's a big deal. I don't think any team has done that, if I'm not mistaken. And to be, I mean, you're in that ball game. I'm talking about like down to like the last 8-10 minutes of the game. You're in this game.
Sir, he can bid all he wants to. It ain't happening. No, he can bid like they do in spades, knowing you ain't got no. It's a no. Now, here's the thing. I think he's a good coach. Okay. I think that here's what I took from it, right? Prairie View has a big game against Alcorn coming up. They know that. But homecoming is not an easy game to win because there's so much energy on campus. There's so many different things going on. So many different things can have your attention that sometimes it wears and tears on your players because it's just, just the mental thing. People coming into town, calling your players, asking for comp tickets, trying to, see, hey, can we take, all this stuff is going on. You got players on the team that's parts of frats. They got to be at the step show, all kinds of stuff going on. All right. And then you got to play this team who doesn't have to deal with that stuff, who just had the emotional deal of losing their coach this week. So Pearson is what I understand, he's a fiery, strong, motivating type of guy. Yeah. So they're coming in with nothing to lose, but really 20-10 is not a big lead. If I score a touchdown, now it's 20-17. That's one play. So I hold you 3 and out. Now get the ball back, drive down the field. We got the lead. So, but at the same time, going back to the original question, the answer is no. I think that Alabama State is going to go after somebody that is experienced, somebody that can sell their program, somebody that can take it to the next level. Because you had that in Donald Hill Ely. You need somebody that can take the bull by the horns, get your alumni excited, and get ready. When I said, Donald Hill Ely took over from Brian Jenkins. Brian Jenkins had it in a hellhole. Donald Hill Ely had at least got him to get some victories to believe that they can possibly win. He stabilized the crop. He had some pretty decent and strong recruiting classes. That line is set. Like Alabama State is in position to be a strong top tier team in the SWAC East after Akil Glass leaves. So it's just a matter of now them bringing the right individual in who can take that talent, develop that talent, sell the program, and send it to the next level.
Okay. I can rock with you on that. I just, doing that.
They're in the SWAC East. Now, here's the other thing with Prairie View and Bethune. I think the SWAC East is a beast. I think that there's a better quality of ball being played in the SWAC East right now. And I think because of that, I think sometimes people, just you can look at the record, but I think that the SWAC East is just playing is a little bit tougher than the SWAC West. Right?
Makes sense. I agree with that. Now, Texas Southern, Jackson State, and you buddy, it's Shador. Now, my question in this game is because it was going in at half. It's 21-21 at half. My thing is when I watch teams go against Jackson State, is it Jackson State's versatility or is it the coach's lack of ability to make adjustments? Because what I've noticed coming out of halftime is that Jackson State they're a second half team. If anybody has to watch Jackson State, they are a second half team. Usually the game is close at halftime and they run away with the game. And it seems like it's either, I know they have the better athletes most times, but there's some things you just don't have happen. Like, maybe block James Houston with 2 people. Like, this is my thing. People would say to me, people would say to me this. They'll be like, Scott, they'll be like, okay, if you double team Houston, then you leave Gaddy 1-on-1. Well, show me that Gaddy can dominate a game like James Houston. It's no different if you're playing basketball. don't let Kobe Bryant beat you. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't let the team's strength beat you. And I see multiple times that's what coaches are allowing Jackson State to do, is allow their best player to get off. What do you say to that, Kofi?
I say, in addition to that, I would say Jackson State's coaching staff to this point has done an amazing job of understanding who they are, understanding what to do, and playing to that strength. The other part of that is Texas Southern was successful in running the ball, and then they stopped freaking running the ball in the second half. And as I've been stating all year long, yeah, they got Houston, they got all that other stuff going on the line. But if I freaking run the ball consistently and develop a strong running game and get in third and short situations now, or second and short situations, I can control the narrative of the game and wear that defense down. Now, Texas Southern got away from the run, and they could, they just, they got put in a strong passing situation, and it neutralized them. I think, again, going back to FAMU runs the ball, FAMU freaking wins the game. It took FAMU like 3 games to figure out, oh, we're a freaking running team. Yeah, run the freaking ball. And I think that Texas Southern just really got away from that. And I think that was one of the things. I think sometimes coaches overthink what they need to do, and it's really simple. Just keep it simple. And
if I'm Southern, and I know Jackson State is probably going to go back to film it and probably clean this up, they couldn't do nothing with that option. They couldn't do nothing with that option with Andrew Body. And if I'm Southern, I'm looking at that. But Jackson State's probably going to clean that up. But you're absolutely right. Ladarius went for 23 attempts, 198 yards. He probably could have got 270. Easy.
That's what you freaking do against Jackson State. Now, if I'm Southern, and I'm not trying to, Skelton's been hitting all year long. They got him returning kicks, all this other foolishness, and him sitting on the sideline. So if I'm coach, I'm gonna go to Skelton this week. Son, I'm gonna put you in the game.
I'm gonna need you.
I need to lean on you this week. And I come out with that wishbone and wing T and that option attack. And Southern does have a strong offensive line that I think has the ability to compete against Jackson State. So if Southern's able to run the ball, that's really going to be the key that's going to make things easier for the QB. So, absolutely.
Oh, man, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, Jackson State's versatility. I think that they do have the talent. They can run or pass. They've got talent on defense. But sometimes these coaches just complicate things by not looking at the obvious. The option is working. Let's continue running the option until they stop it.
Just that simple. And I at the end of the day, I think coaches have to understand, and I keep saying this, right? 3 yards against Jackson State is a win. All right, like, stop looking for this 15, 12, 20-yard break. It might come, it might not come. But you have to understand, 3 yards, 4 yards, 2 yards, that's a win. Like, just stay positive, okay? Just stay ahead of the chains when it comes to Jackson State. That's I would tell any coach that. Just stay ahead of the chains when you're messing with Jackson State. Because if you get 38, you get 39, best believe you ain't picking it up. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You ain't picking that up. All right? Game of the week. Week. FAMU, Southern. Southern had your number in the first half, second half. Defense comes to play, shuts them out. They
have nobody's number, man.
They had your number. They had your number.
They ain't had no number. Let me
running down your throat. They was really running the ball down your
throat. The fumble when the punt hit our dude.
Yeah.
Okay. We were up 7-0, about to get the ball. Guy didn't get out the way, didn't see it because his back was turning. He's blocking 2 guys. So they got the ball at the 50 and they were able to drive it in. Okay. So they got a little momentum and then they scored again. They had a couple of guys, so they saw something. But after the first quarter, they didn't score but like 3 points. So, we were able to make the adjustments and neutralize what they were doing. I met a couple of Southernites at the IHOP you know, as I was going in. They were like, man, we let y'all off the hook, man. Our coach just blah, blah, blah. Now, but at the same time, you know, our defense can make it seem like, you know, your offense is inept. I do think that Southern should have stuck with their strength. The guy missed some throws. They were dropping passes.
That's true.
You know, and I don't know what was up with that, but, you know, what's Southern's record?
I think they got 3 losses.
4 and
Texas
5.
Southern.
They're 4 and 5, right?
They lost to Texas Southern. They lost to
Prairie View,
Troy, McNeese. Yeah. Okay.
So they're 4 and 5. So as Bill Parcells says, your record says you are. Yeah. They're inconsistent. And coaching has a lot to do with a lot of the things that's going on. But, you know, drop passes for me, if you're a championship team, it's inexcusable. The talent is there. I think, you know, obviously, I don't know what he's doing with Skelton. I think it's a waste, especially this guy's senior year.
I'll be hot, boy. Listen, I'm fighting everybody up in that mug. My senior year, I'm the most winningest quarterback in the room.
He's freaking been to 3 SWAC championship games. This guy knows what to do. You know, he's an athletic beast. Why is he not on the field? You know, so I can see how that could possibly divide a locker room. I'd be curious, you know, even with me, you know, guys, testosterone gets going, you know, coaches get egos, they be wanting to put jokers on. I don't know what's going on. But if I'm the coach, I'm going to look at devising some more plays for Skelton. Because he's too talented to just be sitting there and doing nothing. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Too talented.
I'm disappointed.
Too talented. So one thing my baller awards, I gave your boy Rashawn McKay a baller award. He came to play. Listen, I call a spade a spade. That is what it is. I just like that he didn't put your team in harm's way because he's good. He's been good for that. All right. He'll give a fumble, a short field, a pick. That wasn't his game plan today. He played a clean game. I can respect that. Game manager one-on-one. Congratulations to Rashawn McKay. He did his thing on that one. But what I want people to really understand is how special Bishop Bonnet is. Like, I don't think people really you probably see the stats. You kind of get, but if you don't watch the game, you don't understand how special he is. The man was injured. I don't care. He was injured, limping, ankle, all that issue. In the biggest moment of the game, they gave him the ball. He picked up multiple first downs, and he still looked faster than everybody else on the defensive side of the ball, injured. He is a special talent, and I really want people to give him his roses while he's on the team because he's real. He's the real deal.
He is tough as nails, man. And you know, I do want to talk because I love my team, but I do also want to call a spade a spade. We had multiple opportunities in the red zone. I mean, multiple opportunities, and the reason why our special teams guy is the player of the week in the SWAC is because we couldn't find. I think we just complicated things once we got inside the red zone. I'm like, look, guys, you know, run the freaking ball. Now, you got down there inside the one. It took us 7 freaking plays to get the ball in the end zone, which I think is ridiculous. But, hey, space is limited down there, and you're in the shotgun on the 1 yard line. Now, everybody's already in there, so you know it's going to be a battle up front. It's going to be extremely intense. But guess what? It takes longer. That little split second that it takes for that ball to get to the QB, and then that other split second that it takes for the ball to get to your running back takes too much time.
Yeah.
Get on the center and run something, or spread everybody out and create more space and run the ball.
Okay, so this is what you have to be cognizant of, is that you have to understand that a lot of kids nowadays are used to being in the shotgun. A lot of kids aren't used to taking the ball in the snap. So with that type of pressure, you're more liable. You're more liable to fumble the snap under center because you're not used to the drop back, the quick jerk, the turn, give, and all that type of motion because they're not used to doing that on a consistent basis. So to be in a pressure moment under center, I'm not saying a quarterback shouldn't be able to do that, but I'm saying most times, most schemes are not built for quarterbacks in college today to play under center. I'll give you that. Next thing, these SWAC refs need to start getting paychecks, deducted, stubs, something. There's no possible way you call an offsides penalty on a DB. What? When does that ever happen? Because you're supposed to tell the DB you're on the ball, you're off the ball, back up. You do the same thing for a receiver. The receiver always checks, hey, ref, I'm on the ball. You're good. DB does the same thing. Hey, ref, am I good? You're good. How do you call 2 offside penalties on a cornerback? Makes no sense.
Look, it's absolutely ridiculous. But until enough people apply pressure to the SWAC office about our level of officiating, it's not going to change. I don't know whether it's classes, if they need more money, if they need glasses, if they need psychological treatment, they need therapy, whatever it is. I feel like it's just not going to change until there is a greater degree of accountability that's put in place over our officials. There has to be some level of measurement in place to keep our officials operating at a high level, because right now it's just not there. And they make bad calls on replays. I saw that in the spring when Southern had blocked the kick against Bama State for a touchdown, and it was clear that they blocked the kick. Why are you blowing a freaking whistle and the kick is blocked? It's a freaking touchdown.
The worst one I seen is the Valley, that when Jelani runs into the end zone, Houston tackles him in the end zone. They put him on the 1 yard line. I said, I'm like, what are we doing? And to Los J, sir, the first time, maybe. The second time, I know the DB checked with. You can't tell me the DB did not check with the ref to say, ref, am I good? You already got one offsides call on you. There's no football player in the history of football that's going to do the exact same thing in that moment and not check with the ref to see if he's on or off the ball or if he's on side. So I get what you're saying, Los, but come on, bro. That is not what it is. And that Valley call was crazy. And it's another call. Hands to the face in the Jackson State game against Texas Southern. I have never, ever seen a ref call that in any game, and you call it on the biggest play of the game. It's no,
Look,
and then
the SWAC refs play like we play space. Is it deuces wild or is it not?
What's the rules?
What's the rules? You got to find out before you get there, because they lie, but it be like, look, this
you play Joker, deuce. We go ace high. What we doing? You know what I'm saying?
That's how they play, man. It be like it changed from home field to home field, just all kind of stuff. Who paid you off this week? All right, did Deion give you some money?
It's crazy.
Did Deion give you some money? Did McNabb give you some money? I need to know before we go up in here.
Yeah,
because that's really how it looks, because they make up calls, man. They make up calls. I saw when we play Alabama State, they called delay a game on FAMU, and we didn't have to. I'm like, what do you mean delay a game? How can you call delay a game on the defense? What in the world? That was the first time I had ever seen that call. And really in the SWAC, that's what you hear all the time. That was the first time ever I have seen. That's the first time ever I have seen. That was the first time ever I have seen. How long are we going to say that and not write the commissioner and be like, look, this got to change, because we're talking about selling a product to the nation and growing the brand of the SWAC. You can't do that with dysfunctional officiating all the time.
And you know what's bad about it, though, is you've built such a pattern of bad calls. If it's a good call, you still don't trust it. You're like, I don't know. But this, I want to speak to this guy right here, or Orenthal. It sounds like a mint, but whatever. Listen, man, if you were watching the game through Jackson State, if you was watching the game through Jackson State television, I know you're lying because they don't do replays. Okay. So that's how I know. If you watch the game if you watched it through my watch party, or if you bought the $26 to watch it, Jackson State's media is ill regard of playing replays. They don't do that. Valley does it. Fam does it. Grambling kind of does it. They'll give you a seizure if you watch the Grambling game. But what I'm saying is that's what it is. So I know you're lying. Now, if you was at the game, they probably showed it on the Jumbotron, maybe. But if you watch the watch party, you a damn lie because they don't do replays. So try that again, sir. Take that somewhere else, Mint. All right. Anyway, now playoffs. Now listen, I'm gonna give you a scenario. Right? I think Blue Blood, shout out to Blue Bloods, Boy Wonder. He told me you guys are ranked 29th. Prairie View is 24, and Jackson State, I believe, is 18 in the official FCS playoffs. Not no coaches poll, not no CBS poll, not no Jackson State poll. All right, the official FCS poll. Let me ask you this. If you guys do not get in the playoffs, tell me how disappointing it is. I won't say tell me, but I'm asking you, would it be disappointing that you don't get to see your team play again? That's why I think a Celebration Bowl 14 playoff would be I think it'll be I think you don't want to have a 9-2 team at the house for nothing. You don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. A 9-2 team just at the house. You know what I'm saying? So tell me your thoughts about it. I've been advocating this for the longest. Tell me your thoughts.
I think it'd be amazing. It's an opportunity to build revenue because people are going to buy into it immediately. I know our fans would. I think it's an opportunity to gain sponsorship, TV viewership, and to sell it, man. I think it'd be great. But for me personally, I'd be extremely disappointed, obviously, to see that. But we've got to make HBCU football relevant beyond the HBCUs. And the way to do that is to go into these systems and to play these other teams and begin to beat them. And that's really on our ADs to form these relationships, to play the other schools from the other conferences in FCS and beat them consistently. The OVC, the Big South, all these conferences, we need to be playing these teams. The SWAC should be playing. Somebody in the SWAC should have played Sam Houston State. Somebody in the SWAC should have played, that's these other schools like Southern and Alcorn cannot be losing to McNeese State. Right now, they look at our brand of football as if it's not, but they kind of see also what they want to see. Because A&T was clearly beating other PWIs from East Carolina Division I schools. So, South Carolina State beat Wofford, and that's a Southern Conference, a strong team in the Southern Conference. Normally, they were ranked at the time. People see what they want to see, and so they find a way to devalue you. But until we challenge the system is not going to change. So, I kind of agree with that. I just would like to see us break in at least and show that we can go toe-to-toe to these guys and beat them. Or at least gauge where we are in this process to see exactly what we need to do to take the next step and to take over completely.
I think what a lot of SWAC fans are at, I'll exclude FAMU fans. FAMU fans are kind of all gung-ho playoff. I think the initial SWAC schools are more of insulating themselves. I don't have a problem with you scheduling the out-of-conference games, the realistic, the FCS stuff, not the Division II crap, and still having your insulation of the 14 playoff, because I think you're limiting the advertisement, you're limiting the eyes on when you just have a simple celebration bowl of just the MEAC and SWAC champions, and okay, that's what it is, because listen. There's nobody in the world that would not pay for a FAMU Jackson State rematch at the Celebration Bowl.
For real, man. I mean, even if you look at the NCAA basketball tournament, right? Somebody's going to get screwed every single year.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other tournament? The NIT.
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about college basketball? Yeah. The fallback. Yeah, the fallback.
So the NIT comes in and they take those teams, and those teams continue to compete. They get ESPN time. They're playing. They're getting exposure. Scouts get to see them, and they're playing for something. They're playing for a championship, which is what you want the whole college experience to really be for your players. They're continuing to have the opportunity to show how good, to show how good their program really is. And so that same thing can actually happen also on the FCS level. Now, I'm in agreement with you. I think that something needs to happen, even if we challenge one of the FCS teams, one FBS team in a bowl game. Because say FAMU plays a lower level FBS team in a bowl game, we might do okay, but we make some money, and then at the same time, you're getting that exposure. Our fan base is going to travel, especially if it's in a place like Mobile or Atlanta or in Louisiana within the 7-hour limit. We're going to be there. So it's an opportunity to grow the brand of HBCU football. And I like that idea because it gives our programs an opportunity to generate revenue and to increase the viewership.
What I love about the 4-team playoff is that teams won't quit through the season, right? Because and I'm not saying FAMU's quitting. I'm not saying that at all. They're waiting for their opportunity to kind of slip in and slide back into the SWAC championship. But at the same time, every other team around still is fighting for a chance to get into that seeding of the 4-team playoff. And I think that would be absolutely amazing. You're talking about coming down to the edge of teams trying to get seeded in that positioning, or it could be a 16 playoff. It could be whatever you want, however you want to make it. I wish the MEAC had more teams. That would really, I would take it probably to a 16, 3 from the SWAC, 3 from the MEAC or whatever, make it like that. But I think that's something the commissioner should definitely look at. I think it's something that would be much interesting because you don't want to send teams, because who's to say, no shot at y'all, who's to say FAMU comes back next year 9-2? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying it, but you want to see, you're hot now. I want to see them ride it out. Like, you just want to keep seeing good football. And that's why the BCS does what it does when they open it up to the playoff teams, because they want to get those teams in there that have good records.
Bruh, a darn 6-win team in FBS can go to a bowl. They had 5-win teams in bowl games during COVID. 5-win teams. 5 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got a 9-win team over here, and there's nothing else to go. So I think that the conversation needs to happen, because it's time for us to take what we have to the next level, you know, and we have to begin to discuss what the next level looks like.
Got you.
So
Elvin Prince, I wouldn't, any team that looks as good as FAMU at 9-2, I would want them in a celebration bowl. It wouldn't matter to me if Alabama State, I don't care if it was Valley, I don't give a damn who it is. If you 9-2 and you look good, I would like to see it. I would like to see you play it out. That's just that simple. All right, let's get to these week 11 games. All right, we're gonna run through this. Bethune-Cookman at Grambling. I think I won't call this the Mug Bowl. It's not that. It's just
Cookman's gonna go in there and they're gonna beat Grambling.
In the hole. In the hole.
In the hole. Grambling's offense right now is very, very suspect. It's they've downgraded. Noah's not playing, so they're not difficult to figure out. You know what I'm saying? And their offensive line is not in championship form. And I just believe that the East is just stronger right now. I think that Cookman can go in there with this confidence building win against a team like Alcorn and beat Grambling.
That's real. Let me answer this question. Hey, Dice, the reason that a 3-loss team is ahead of Jackson State because strength of schedule. Say it with me. Strength of schedule.
Now, here's the deal. Here's the deal also with that as well, because, again, I believe that these posters see what they want to see. Many times there's a meeting before the meeting. And sometimes I believe that just the narrative shifts to try to keep teams in a hole. I do believe that a lot of these polls are BS, just simply because, again, you've got several FBS caliber players that transferred into Jackson State on that defense. So you mean to tell me that you don't believe they're top 10 in the country, that they can't stop somebody on a higher level? I
can't grade you off that though.
Yeah,
I can't grade you off that.
We say that though, but our teams have played FBS teams, and those games are not blowouts. Like they're closer than they've been in some time. These are winnable games. I
can't grade you off a quality, like, unless you're losing to a top 10 team in the FCS, I can't grade a quality loss. And if you want to talk about a quality loss, UIW smash PV. Smash PV. That's not a quality loss. That tells me you're not in the same level as UIW. You see what I'm saying? So I can't grade you like that. I just can't.
I mean, it is what it is, you know, but at the same time, I mean, Prairie View went in there, and I don't know how good Rice is, right? But just a couple of, they were within a field goal of beating Rice. A field goal of beating Rice in their stadium. So it's not, you know, and sometimes just matchups and sometimes games just get away from you. But I just do not believe that these other teams are that much better than our teams. It is what it is for now, because even back in the early 80s, I want to say late 80s, even parts of the 90s, we had numbers of people for both the MEAC and the SWAC that were on those committees and even those voting committees. And so it kind of evened out the score. I don't know who we have right now.
This is not a good, listen, bro. Jackson State scheduled a Division II opponent and only beat them by a touchdown. You understand what you're saying before you make comments in the chat. Research what you're talking about. All right. They barely beat a Valley team. You got to understand what you have to understand the whole premise of a strength of schedule. Valley is like what, one in something? You know what I'm saying? And you're supposed to be this dominant team. Listen, it's the same thing I'm going to tell FAMU. You have to win in style. Okay, when you you gotta win in style. It's the same thing with FAMU. Fort Valley. That's what you're gonna put, and you beat them. Congratulations, fam. Congratulations. Come on, man. Like, that's
you know, and even with that, you know, you schedule these games because you're trying to develop revenue for your department. You know, you understand and say, hey, we need to fill this spot. We need to have a home game that we know that we're gonna host. So a Delta State's going to bring people to your stadium. You're going to be able to develop some revenue. Those people are going to come. It's in the same state. Fort Valley's right up the street, an hour and a half away from Tallahassee. They're going to bring 2,000-3,000 people to the game. You know, you get concessions, get parking, they buy stuff. You're getting revenue, which is why, you know, a lot of these guys. But from a voting standpoint, if you're trying to gain points with the voting system that is within your division, scheduling a Division II team is just not going to do it. So I'm in agreement there, but you know, the revenue side of it is what a lot of these ADs and stuff are looking at.
Got you. Alabama State versus Valley. All right.
Next.
I think this is a straight defensive game.
Next.
Whoever can run the ball better, I think is going to win this game. Whoever's quarterbacks keeps them out of turnover, whoever can run the ball better, because these are both run-first teams. They're both quarterbacks are game managers. Whoever has the less turnovers, and listen, once again, Valley has that field on their side.
They got that field.
On their side.
That field,
all right,
bro.
If any game should be next, it should be this. This should be a next game.
Next, kind of, because again, I want to see how FAMU's going to come out. I want to see us actually put more than 40 points on the freaking board. That hadn't happened yet all year long. And so, you know, Southern was able to go in their homecoming out. And again, there's that homecoming vibe. Everything's coming in. Team get distracted. Southern goes in there after losing. They're extra motivated because UAPB whipped them in the spring. But, you know, UAPB picks up a win last week. So now, is this UAPB team rejuvenated? And is FAMU looking forward to the Florida Classic? FAMU can't afford to look forward to the Florida Classic because they've got to play and beat soundly a UAPB team that has a losing record, and they have to win, as you stated, with style points if they're going to get more votes. They cannot lose this freaking game.
That's what's up. That is what's up. All right, next up, Alabama A&M, Texas Southern. Listen, I think it's going to be a straight shootout. I think this is I think we might see the most points scored in the season total in this game. I think it might be a 45, 49, like 50, 54, because Texas Southern defense is trash. We all know that their run defense is horrible. Pass defense is horrible. Alabama A&M's defense ain't no better. And these are strictly offensive-based teams. This is probably the most exciting game, like offense and power. Like I'm really interested to see this team.
Definitely a lot of fireworks in this. And we're going to see if Alabama A&M's defense is up to the challenge. They're playing on the road. Are they going to be ready to deal with this onslaught of speed? I would say, and they've been giving up big plays. So I want to see how A&M's defense is going to stack up. I know what Akil Glass is capable of and what he's going to do. So I'm in agreement. This is probably going to be definitely minimal 30, or I would say total number of points is going to be 70-something.
Yeah, I think if I'm betting the over, if it's anything less than 60, I'm betting over. If they got anything less, if it's like 50, I'm betting over. I am betting. I don't even bet, but yeah, I'm betting over. I'm putting my money on that one. Next up, PV and Alcorn State. Now, this lost a little bit of luster to me because they lost to Bethune, right? But it's still a big game. Alcorn can still bounce back and win it, if they choose to do so. But it did lose a lot of luster to me because Bethune did beat Alcorn. But it's still a game that I think people want to see, and people are going to definitely show up and show out in this game. What do you guys say, Mr. Kofi?
Absolutely. In this game, this is one of the few home games that Alcorn has. So I'm looking for Brave Nation to show up and make life miserable for Prairie View. Or attempt to make life miserable for Prairie View. I think the Prairie View is definitely going to be dialed in, especially after that scare that they had from Alabama State this past weekend. I think that's going to probably rally the troops. But Alcorn.
There are 3 participants in the conference.
My bad. That's on me. Go ahead. You good.
Tell that white lady to be quiet. All right. So, I think that, having the band there is going to rejuvenate Alcorn to play a really strong game. And this is going to be I want to say Prairie View's opportunity to demonstrate how dominant they are. I think this is an opportunity for them to show that they can go on the road and put teams away again. So Alcorn plays well at home. They got a 10-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is an opportunity for Alcorn to make a huge statement going into Jackson State.
And I know a lot of Alcorn fans say we don't lose at home. Call lines are open. Hey, get your call lines in. There's one more question left. Call lines are open. You can call in and ask me and Mr. Kofi a question. All right, question or comment. We keeping it short and sweet today. All right, his wife's birthday. Please respect the fact that he has to get back and do his husbandly duties. All right.
Bang, bang, bang. Sorry.
Something is wrong with this man. Oh my gosh. Game of the week Boombox Classic in the building. Jackson State at Southern hasn't beat Southern in the last 26, I'm just saying 9 years. And this is the game, man. This is the game. Talk to me about it. What you got? What you got? Throw the book.
Jackson State hands down is the better team. Just right now, but just going in, playing in Mumford is just different. It's a different vibe. This game has been sold out for over a month. The hotel prices, they're canceling people's rooms and reselling them for $800. So that tells you how big this freaking game is. I think it's absurd, but I ain't paying no darn $800 for no room. That's ridiculous. But at any rate, they're doing it in Baton Rouge. This game's been sold out. People are going to be there in droves. It's going to feel like homecoming and beyond. Jackson State's going to have about 10,000 people on the bluff. It's going to be nuts all week long. And the energy is going to be there. I think that I'm going to say this again. Jackson State clearly has the better team. I'm I'm curious to find out, and I'm definitely going to be lifting up Dion because, you know, this is week 3 going into week 4 that he's been out. But Jackson State should win this game. They you know, I think Southern's going to put up a fight, but I think that Jackson State's going to pull away late probably in the second half, like they've been doing. And yeah, but Southern does have an opportunity. They're capable. I just don't see them coming out with the W.
Listen, it's going to be a game. Well, let me just say, I hope it's going to be a game. I don't know.
I hope it's going to be a game, but
I hope it's going to be a game because I feel bad for people paying $600 for a room and they get a blowout. Yeah, I'll feel bad for you because I'll be like, I watched that whole on television. I just in my underwear in front of the TV or probably doing a watch party or something like that.
I'm staying in New Orleans. I am not staying in bed. They tried it, bro. I mean, like, that's just ridiculous. I'll be calling the mayor the next day. That's like price gouging. But here's the deal. Like, Southern has the formula to compete against Jackson State. You're going to be at home. That energy is going to be there. That belief is going to be there because you've beaten Jackson State before over the last 8 years. So they don't want to be the team that ends that losing streak. They know the formula. They can run the ball, and that's where it starts. You know, pound the rock, run the ball, run it again, run it some more. And they've got some explosive talent. I mean, if receivers don't drop the ball, that gives them an opportunity to be close enough at the end where it does make a difference. I have seen Jackson State experience some level of adversity, but they're going to face some level more adversity against Southern University this week. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shadur manages that atmosphere on the road like this. This will be his toughest contest going into Alcorn week.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to get to the call lines. The one thing I think that Southern needs to do, first of all, I think the SWAC overall needs to have an injury report list before these games. Like, you gotta, because I don't want to be critical of coaches when I don't know the injury report. You know, like, I don't know. Nobody knows who's starting. Nobody knows. I don't know that you're down 4 running backs, you know, unless I hear from an alumni guy who reaches out to me. He likes to show, hey, Scotty, just on the low, we don't got no running backs. Like, you know, like, that should be something that everybody should know, because I'll give you a pass. Like, bro, what are you supposed to do? Like, Coach Doc Gamble in the thing today, he said he didn't have no DBs. He was putting wide receivers at DB in the Grambling game. So, come on, man. But I think at this point, if I'm Southern, my game plan is to make this game as slow and physical as possible. Slow and physical as possible. You want to make this game close. You don't have the offense to come back off of 14 points, let alone what Jackson State is capable of putting up. So you need to make this game a straight slugfest, 17-21, 14-17, and make the Jackson State kicker beat you. That's what you need to do is on all levels. But all right, let's get to the call lines. If you are a member, all right, if you are a member, you have the little icon beside your name, like Bud. Please put your last 4 in the comment, and I will get to you first. All right. There's a lot of people on this call line. If you're a member, please put your name put your last 4 in the chat, and I will get to you first. First up is Bud. Hey, Bud, you live. Talk to me.
What's up, Scotty?
What's good?
What's up, Mr. Coach? Hey, quick question, man. I hear you guys always talk about the D2 school, Delta State. First of all, Delta State coach called out Coach Prime as soon as he got to Jackson State. He said, hey, we beat you guys back today. We want our revenge. Come get your league back. So that's one of the reasons they was on the schedule. Second of all, I think you guys kind of don't know how good Delta State is, man.
I know how good they are. It's the voters that you got to convince.
Oh, my gosh, bro. Like,
it's the voters.
But this is my question. I have a question, Scotty. If Delta State played the rest of the SWAC, what do you think their record would be?
I don't give a damn. It's D2. It's listen, bro.
It matters.
Listen. It depends on what you're talking about, right? If you're talking about getting in the play, listen. You SWAC fans are so finicky. All right, you so backwards and finicky. First, it's about all we care about is the SWAC championship, Scotty. We don't give a damn about playoffs. And then when playoffs get brought up, I know what you're asking, bud. I know what you're asking. I'm just saying in general. But then when playoffs get brought up, then all SWAC fans are going to jump on, well, we need to be higher in the rankings and we need to be in the playoffs. And no. All right. First of all, if Delta State played half the teams in the SWAC, they will probably beat them. That lets me know your lack of, that's no good. That's not good for the SWAC.
Let's put it like this.
Here's
the deal.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Scott. I just wanted to hear that. Now, here's my point. What I'm saying, I think that this is just Deion Sanders' really first full season. We're not gonna really count the spring. So then, this is our first real full season. First, you got to prove that you can dominate at home before you go out. I'm not saying let's go to the playoffs or we need to be ranked high. Now, next year, it's a different story. Let's get down to business next year. But first, we ain't even won a SWAC championship yet. Let's win the SWAC championship first. Let's win the Celebration Bowl. Let's prove that we can dominate at home. Then next year, you'll hear me calling saying, hey, we need to play bigger schools. But we had to beat the schools like Southern, who've been losing to other teams, and it's still a question is if it's going to be a good game against Jackson State.
Go, bud.
That shouldn't even be a question.
Go ahead, bud.
So that's all I'm saying. I just wonder how you guys feel if Delta State played other SWAC schools. How would you feel they would do?
It's on you, bud.
They win some and lose some.
I just wanted to make sure that because I think some of the people in the chat think that because you said a D2 school that Jackson State is.
Let me say this, there are several.
Now they're a good competition now.
They're in the toughest conference in Division II. But you hear me? Delta State is in the toughest conference in Division II. But just quite frankly, if the University of Alabama were to play one of our schools, a SWAC school, let's say they played FAMU or Jackson State. And Jackson State, they were only able to beat us 21-10, 21-17. Alabama would fall in the polls.
Right.
Straight up.
But I think Mr. Kofi, I think we placing the mantra of Alabama on Jackson State too quick. It's only one recruiting class. Maybe next year, maybe the
it shouldn't. They should look like Alabama would look if they play a lesser competition. No, bro. I do not care if it was Dion. I don't care if it was Schmeon. You should have already been scheduling FCS teams. It didn't matter who was your coach. You should have already been scheduling these teams. You guys were scared. You only were going after money games, and then you go to your little D2 games to make you feel happy, and then you start playing SWAC competition and also all that cared about. I do not care if Dion never had a recruiting class come through. You should have already had the schedule set to play high-level FCS teams, and you guys don't. You don't.
Well, Scott, and let me tell you this, and I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
That's not completely true because before this season, earlier season, we played UNLV. That season, UNLV went 1-11. Their one win came against Jackson State. They beat Jackson State 50-something to 7, I think. So that's why
then Howard comes in the next year and beats them.
And for the callers who said Jackson State was scared to travel, they played UNLV in UNLV in Las Vegas. So that's not true either.
All right. Appreciate the call,
man,
bud.
I'll sit back and listen to you guys. I'm going to take all the time.
All right. Appreciate it. I really think they be missing the bigger.
It's okay. Sorry.
Hey, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey, what's going on? Scotty, this is Matthew from Minneapolis.
Talk to me.
Hey, so, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. Let's first start talking about the Delta State team, right? It's the same Delta State team that almost beat who? That almost beat West Florida, right? West Florida goes out and beat McNeese State, right? So who lost to McNeese State, a FCS program, right? And the difference is, and what I'm trying to get to is that FBS, they may a year they may, they get 25 new scholarships. They can have 85 full scholarships on team. FCS might be like.
Is there a question?
65.
Is there a question? Is there a question?
Yeah.
What's the question?
There is a question.
What's the question?
Why does everyone look down on Delta State as a quality? Why does everyone look down on it? Not everyone. Why does everyone look down on it? I think we shouldn't look down on it because Delta State is a much better team. People give them credit for.
Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna reverse the question. I'm gonna let Mr. Kofi answer, but I'm gonna reverse. Are you a SWAC graduate? Are you a SWAC school graduate?
I am. Yes.
I assume that. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kofi. Go ahead, Mr. Kofi.
Okay. If little Johnny had 8 apples and Sally had 3 apples, how many apples would you have left? She took 3 of them. You'd have 5, right?
That's how y'all feel?
All right. So my point is, if the University of Alabama, or let's say Georgia, who is number 1, the University of Georgia plays, let's say they play a team even in their own state and division. Let's say they play Kennesaw State. They play Kennesaw State and they beat Kennesaw State 21-17. Would Georgia still be ranked number 1?
They take a hit.
Hello? Is it yes or no?
Yeah, they would take a hit. He said they'll take a hit.
Yes, they're going to take a hit. They're going to drop lower in the polls. Why would they drop lower in the polls, Dr. McGlory?
Because they're less. Yeah.
Because what now?
They're lesser team. Yeah.
Right. The perception is that Kennesaw State is in they're in a lower division, and the University of Georgia should dominate Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
Delta State is in what division, Dr. McGlory?
In a perfect world, I would love the 3rd week of September. I would love Jackson State, FAMU, and one other HBCU to play like North Dakota, South Dakota State, and St. Thomas. Play them in Chicago or something, and we have it a HBCU versus PWI Classic. I'd love to see that.
That'd be great in Minneapolis.
Right now, the structure is a structure.
Well, it's just a matter of our ADs getting together and talking. So that's something that could happen. But in the meantime, you can't struggle with Delta State and, expect people to, just up you. Now, again, I understand the talent of Division II is not that different from the talent in Division I, and that's across the board. That's how Tuskegee was able to play Jackson State a couple of years ago and shut them out. 36-0, I think, in Mobile. Game wasn't close. That's how Tuskegee was able to score 35 points on Alabama A&M. They got athletes. I get it. But the perception still is FCS team should not struggle against a Division II team. An FCS team, a top-level FCS team, a championship-level FCS team should not struggle against a Division II team. The reality is, if half the teams played the University of West Florida,
they could lose.
They would definitely lose because that's an FCS caliber team. But still, the perception is people would say it's an upset because the perception is an FCS team should be a Division II team. All right, next.
But we don't look at that same way with North Dakota State, though. There's a double standard. That's all I'm saying.
How so?
Because if North Dakota State moved to here's my point. If North Dakota State moved to the MAC, you feel me? If they move to the MAC,
you're adding a hypothetical. Go ahead. So you're adding a hypothetical.
If they move to the MAC, the expectation they wouldn't always beat Akron or Toledo, and that's just the expectation. But yeah, it's all good.
Thank you for the call, Mr. McGlory. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Appreciate it.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy on my soul.
Please, if anybody say Delta State again,
I'm hanging up. I swear to God, I'm hanging up.
Keep our name out your mouth.
I'm hanging up. If somebody says Delta State, I swear to God, I'm hanging up. Hey, caller, you live? Talk to me.
Hey, man, how you guys? You guys good?
I'm good. What's up with you? What's your question or comment?
Two quick questions.
All right, go ahead.
2 quick questions. Can you guys tell me when the contract for the Celebration Bowl ends? And then secondly, and Mr. Kofi, you may know this a little bit more, and I've been trying to figure this out. Is one of the reasons that the Celebration Bowl exists and why the SWAC doesn't get an automatic bid to the playoff is because Grambling and Southern would refuse to move the game. That's way after the end of the season and after they pick the playoff teams, and therefore the SWAC schools can't get an automatic bid because technically their season is still going because Grambling and Southern won't move their game. So those two questions. One about the contract. When does the contract for the Celebration Bowl end, and how does the Grambling Southern game impact SWAC schools getting into the playoffs?
All right, so somebody says 2026. I know
6 more years.
It's a 6-year contract, so it should be 2027 of when the Celebration contract is over. And for the playoffs, I believe that is correct. Grambling's the Bayou Classic the Bayou Classic is after the start date of the playoffs, so that kind of eliminates the automatic bid for SWAC teams as well because of the season going ahead of that as well. But go ahead, Mr. Kofi, if there's anything else you want to kind of chime in on.
There's nothing else really to say, but then at the same time, because of our own complacency, we allowed them to do that and to change that narrative unchallenged. Southern had several teams that should have been able to compete in the FCS playoffs, but nobody ever challenged it. You know, and I think that this is ridiculous because I think Southern could have gone on a nice little run in the FCS playoffs under Coach Pete Richardson, but we'll never know that because they never had the opportunity to compete. I know the Jackson State fans are still traumatized because they've never won a playoff game. So they don't care about, you know, just they don't like having their team embarrassed on that high stage. But the same thing is, I mean, you're competing.
That's actually not true. That's not true. And in fact, and again, both my parents graduated from Jackson State as far back in '68. Jackson State fans have, although we've never done well in the playoffs, you're right, we've never done well in the playoffs. Jackson State fans have always wanted that because we've always seen going to the playoffs as good recruiting. So it's not that, I know that narrative's out there that schools that go to the playoffs and get Jackson State goes to the playoffs to get it better. No, I'm telling you the hardcore, my father has had season tickets at Jackson State since 1968. When he died in 2015, I had his tickets converted to my name. Those same tickets, we have been long. Jackson State true blue fans have always supported the playoffs. And oh, by the way, we have always played up. Jackson State has traditionally played Ole Miss, traditionally played Mississippi State, traditionally played USM. So it's not that we just played Delta State. Jackson State, if you check our record and our history, we have always played FBS schools. We've never beat them, but we've always played them, and we need to get back to playing them. So that narrative of we have been afraid to play above ourselves, that's a lie.
Yo, I love the passion, my boy.
It's all good. I've just talked to a number of Jackson State fans who just prefer the Celebration Bowl and the SWAC championship over playoffs.
Facts.
And they come back with the narrative that you're making more money, which actually is true. But at the end of the day, if we're going to make HBCU football relevant across the board, around the world, at a whole different level and perspective, we've got to compete against the teams that are quote unquote better than us. Period.
Yeah. Any other question? All right. Before we let you go?
No, I just want to say that I understand. I'm just saying that there are a group of Jackson State folks who we have always wanted to be in the playoffs, and we've always played FBS and above.
Hey, listen, my boy, I'll tell you, I respect it, but your small group does not outweigh the majority. I'll just tell you that. You know, I appreciate your honesty with the playoffs, but your small group, trust me, does not outweigh the majority. But thanks for the call, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, that boy went on a soliloquy and was like, "We ain't never beat him, though." That was the funniest part.
It's all good.
we ain't never beat him though, but you know. Hey, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hey guys, how you doing? Enjoy the show.
What's good?
Hey, Kofi, you up way too high for me to even holler at you at the game. I was not walking up all those steps. But but anyway, yeah, the playoff thing, man. I mean, bottom line, the NFL respects it. The NFL wants to see best against best, right? You're gonna get more props if you are playing against the best and you're dominating them or doing what you do in the playoffs, you know? And that's even higher than doing it during the regular season because they want to see how you handle those kind of situations. If they're going to take a chance on a kid from a Division I AA school to see how you're doing. And yeah, that's going to be what I think what will help our kids make it to the NFL. It doesn't seem big, but I think the NFL really respects that kind of stuff. I think that's why you see some of these kids. You see a lot of kids from these upper tier Division I AA schools that are going to the playoff all the time, being drafted and not drafted, in the late rounds on the last day, coming back and being free agents. You know, if our kids could have the opportunity, just like the kid from Howard, who transferred last year, and then the team he transferred to, they ended up winning the
you talking about the receiver
FCS playoff.
Jaquez Ezra.
Yeah,
Ezra.
Your
right,
FCS.
Yeah, I mean, he was the team, really. You know, at least on
What's
the
the question? What's the question? What's your question?
Well, okay, that was my first statement. But then the question is, so do you believe, I guess I have two questions, right? Do you believe that that it would help us, one, recruit kids? I mean, top tier kids. When I say top tier, I'm not talking about 5-star. You know, the low 4s and 3s, because they know we're going for a national championship, and that's what we're going to do. But then, two, do you think, then this is on another level, do you think that the game this week with FAMU is the trappiest of trap games? I mean, with just playing Southern, in between playing BCU, and really legally, I'm not supposed to even say their names until we beat them, but I'll make an exception one time. Hopefully nobody listening. But yeah, so I think this is a game that we have to keep our eyes on, because it's going to be it could be trouble for us.
I appreciate
we
the call.
should blow them out, but I think it'll be trouble.
I appreciate the call. We'll answer your question. Thank you. First up is, do you think it helps? Do you think being in the playoffs? I'm gonna repeat his questions because he was kind of long winded. Do you think playing in the playoffs helps you recruit top tier talent?
Absolutely. But you know what the kids want right now is exposure. They want to play. They want to know that they're going to be seen. They want to know that they're going to be recognized. They want to know that they're going to play on the big stage. They want to know that the scouts are going to be able, are going to have access to them. The mere fact that your playoff games are going to be televised on ESPN on some level. So that's one. So it will help you to do that, because that's another notch that you're going to have in your belt and say, hey, we were in the playoffs. We got to the semifinals. We did X, Y, and Z. We're able to compete against a high level. One of the reasons Carson Wentz was able to be drafted so high was because he competed in the NCAA playoffs and he won multiple national titles. The reason why that young man was able to be drafted by the 49ers at a high level is because he competed in the NCAA playoffs. They saw him compete. They saw his level, and they were ready to draft him. So North Dakota State has a tradition of producing a high level of talent. Your upper or your top 10 FCS teams are really FBS teams, straight up. They can compete against those FBS teams and get wins. That's why the FBS teams don't want to play North Dakota State, because North Dakota State has the ability to beat them and just lower whatever bowl chances they have, or lower their ranking, because those guys can freaking play. They've got size, they've got speed, they've got talent. Now, I don't know how they get these people to be going up there to North Dakota State to be playing up there in the cold weather like that, but they do, because they win. And so that right there should tell you something. They're getting top level talent to go to North Dakota State.
They got some nice facilities. My next, and
they got some nice looking women too that help get the guys up there too.
And the next question is the FAMU UAP game the trappiest of the trap games this week?
I don't know if it's a trap game. I think Coach Simmons and them have a good handle on this team. I think that they understand what the stakes are, especially at this time. You got 2 more games to go. You're 7-2. You cannot lose to a freaking to UAPB on the road like that. This is a team that they should be able to go. I don't think it's a trap game. I think they understand, especially given how we've been playing football and how we've been winning these games, that every game is a battle and every game deserves your undivided attention. UAPB is still dangerous. They got some speed. They've got some talent. But I think if I'm FAMU, you go in understanding that you are more talented. You are a stronger team. You go in, you stick to your guns. Don't turn the ball over, and you're fine.
All right, too easy. Hey, caller, you live. Talk to me.
What up, Scotty?
What's up?
Hello?
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Man, it's Smash.
What's up, Smash? Talk to me.
It's Smash, man. Hey, man, I just want to say a few things. One, it's crazy watching Mr. Kofi talk about half of the stuff that you didn't say before, and nobody not give him the same energy they gave you. That's crazy. It is crazy. Another thing is, Mr. Kofi giving some great insight. I just want to ask the question because I always hear people say, Deion is going to create this powerhouse team that the SWAC can't compete with, and it's going to become like just a laughing stock, meaning like nobody going to be able to beat Jackson in a few years. So my question is, do y'all think what he's doing is enough to get players in the league? Because that's kind of like the end goal that we want. And my second question is, do you think it will be more beneficial for HBCUs to have their own playoff style with like a Deion influence on it? Kind of like, how Deion create a SWAC day for HBCU players, and we have our own playoff for HBCUs, but kind of like add Deion's publicity to it. So that's a 2-part question. Do you think what he's doing and how he's coming has benefited? Because you just said the only way to get players in the league is to get them in the playoff on a bigger stage. So do you think we should create our own playoff? And do you think what Deion is doing, his presence here is enough to get players in the league?
Hey, appreciate the call, Smash. We're gonna answer it and let you go. All right, man. Appreciate you. I'm gonna start off with this. I actually like that question. Do I think that people are gonna have a hard time competing against Deion? I think they will, because what I've said on numerous occasions is that what you didn't want to happen is coming to fruition. You didn't want Deion to kind of get a grasp of winning at a high level, not really having a lot of close games, and him just kind of winning. I mean, other than the FAMU game, there's not been a lot of close games other than Delta State and that game or whatever, in the ULM game. But if he runs the table first year, SWAC championship, Celebration Bowl, you're going to get what's going to happen is you're going to get slim pickings. You're going to get whatever Deion can't get or whatever he doesn't want, and hopefully they come to your school. That's pretty much what it is. But go ahead, Kofi.
All right, let me say this. A couple of years ago, everybody was watching the Kansas City Chiefs, and they were like, "Oh my freaking God, boy, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to dominate the freaking NFL." I mean, they've got Mahomes, man. They've got Tariq. They're going to dominate for the next 7 years. Well, guess what? 2 years, within 2 years, everything is kind of like evened out. And I'm not sure if Mahomes and them are going to get to, I don't think they're going to get through the AFC playoffs this year. Are they still good? Absolutely. So what my point is this.
I like that comparison.
Even with, let's take Billy Joe. Billy Joe was beating South Carolina State 76-6. 80-14. We're scoring 80 points against South Carolina State. People are not going to sit back and allow, somebody to come in and just continue to trounce your school without making adjustments. Florida State dominated the ACC for years. after a while, the ACC was like, look, my God, like, what do we have to do to change this point narrative and get the scores down? Now, even with Alabama there are teams that are like, look, what can we do? They're making adjustments. They're trying to hire coaches. My point is, Deion and those are going to up the level of play in the conference because now our coach at FAMU, he understands, look, I've got to get a better quality player because we've got to freaking beat Jackson State if we're going to have an opportunity to compete for a SWAC championship, if we're going to have the opportunity to compete at the highest level. Think to up the caliber of talent that is here. So I've got to convince top-level talent in my state to come to my school. I think that Deion's going to obviously continue to claim that narrative because people are driven by celebrity, and Deion's a very good salesperson, and he's extremely influential. But I do think he's going to cause us to up the level of talent. Same thing happened in the Big Ten with Urban Meyer. The Big Ten is a much more athletic conference than it was before Urban Meyer, who was in SEC territory, caused Ohio State to begin to dominate everybody. Now Michigan, that's not a good example. Michigan State and the other schools within the Big Ten begin to step up their level of athleticism so that they can compete against the Southern schools because they know that if they don't, they're gonna get killed.
Okay, this is my thing. All right, so this is where we go. I got to take the left on the fork. My thing is this: if we all in the projects, right? Let's just call it what it is. We all in the projects, and we all in the same block. We all chilling,
right?
Deion got the PS5. The rest of y'all got the PS4, and Deion's the PS5. So all the kids that are on the block are going to want to play at that house because he got the PS5. And his mama says, hey, you only got 10 people to let in the house. And the other kids are like, man, I guess I'll go to, old buddy down the street to play the PS4 or whatever. My thing is this. Fam has a brand. So I can kind of compete with y'all on the same level. Your PS5 it might work, it might not. My thing is that when you're talking about the Alabama States, the Southern, the Alcorns, they're going to have a hard time competing with those fringe 3- and 4-star recruits in the transfer portal, in recruiting the freshmen. They're going to have a hard time getting those guys. Now you're going to have to hit on a lot of guys that you didn't think were going to be that good, and you're going to have to really dig up some diamonds. But overall, Deion's going to out-recruit you off stars alone.
And this is why, going back to your statement, this is why Alabama State has to get their hire right because they've got everything they need. They're a football-rich state. They're right in that little belt with Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. You're going to play, you're a warm weather state. Your players can train year-round. You've got top-notch facilities. There's really no excuse. So you've got to get somebody in there who understands what that whole process is going to look like, and somebody that can bring a system in that's used to winning and be able to win immediately. The problem is you're going to be in the freaking SWAC East, and you're going to have to beat FAMU. You're going to have to beat Jackson State. You're going to have to beat Manor. You're going to have to beat Bethune, and you got to be an up-and-coming Mississippi Valley team, which is why they definitely have to get this hire right. Southern University is going to be in the same spot. They've got to get the hire right. Thanks. I was trying to tell them, I was like, look, you've got a guy up there at Miles who has a system who took Miles, who was nothing, and got them to SIAC championships. So for me, I'm hiring somebody with championships or natties on their resume. If they don't have it, I'm not even looking in their direction. The only person, in my opinion, that would be that exception would be an Ed Reed, who I'd be willing to give a chance because, the kids look at him and like a goddaddy. He's got a big name. And I think that he loves kids and loves to coach, but he doesn't have that same aura. It's a different aura and energy that he's going to bring than what Deion has brought to Jackson State. So,
and the two part to the question that he asked about insulating the playoffs. This is I'm gonna play both sides of the fence on this one. I do not like the insulation and keeping everything black because I feel as though you're missing like there's matchups you want to see. I want to like if you're not going to put the FCS games on your schedule, then yes, I'm missing out on games I want to see. Would I like to see Jackson State against Eastern Washington? Absolutely. Would I like to see Southern against Southeastern Louisiana? Absolutely. Well, I like to see Jackson State against Southern Miss. I like to see FAMU against Southern Miss and all these other little low FCS schools and all Kennesaw States and all that type of stuff. I would love to see that. If you're not going to schedule them on your game, then if you schedule them in the regular season, I don't have a problem with you insulating on the back end. I really don't. You know, you see where you're at. Okay, we beat them. We don't beat them. All right, whatever. But if you don't schedule them and all you're doing is playing money games and then you're isolating on the back end, I have a problem with that. Go ahead, Mr. Kofi.
I'm not against I get it. I think, you know, even like you were talking about with the 14 playoff, I think that, you know, it would be great because you're going to increase your viewership. But at the end of the day, I want to see us compete against the perceived best of the best, the perceived best of the best, which is your North Dakota States, your Sam Houston States, your Old Dominions, your William and Marys. I want to see us compete against the supposed best of the best, and I want to see us win against the proposed or the perceived best of the best. I want to see us take them out.
Got you. All right. Let me knock Mr. Ford out. I know he's gonna be like, "Oh, white people don't want us in their league," so I'm gonna just let Mr. Ford rock out. Go ahead, Mr. Ford. Talk to me.
Hey, I don't even know where to begin. Hold on. Let me turn this down. To that, let me turn it. Okay, you had one caller that said that the NFL scouts look for kids at the black colleges who play in the playoffs, and my retort.
That's not what he said, though.
What playoff did Michael Strahan play in?
No, I'm saying that's not what he said.
What playoff did Aeneas Williams play in when he was at Southern, and he's in the Hall of Fame? Mr. Kofi, you're absolutely right about the coaching thing. Y'all brought up are the schools in FCS just better than the black schools, or is it coaching? I'm here to tell you it's coaching. I watched Villanova win the 1AA championship, and I saw several black teams that had better talent. But what Villanova had, they had better coaching. Florida A&M is one of the few schools with a great offensive system, and I've said this over and over and over again. We have a problem with offensive innovation. We don't have great offensive coaches in the SWAC. And let me just say this to Mr. Hemmingway. I checked the stats, and there were only a bit over 15,000 people at the Southern game this week when Southern hosted Florida A&M. Just imagine if that game had been brought to Atlanta. I can guarantee you that would have been between 45 to 55,000 people in attendance. If that game had been at Georgia Tech, if that game had been at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, or even if that game had been hosted at Georgia State. And I'm not trying to tell Mr. Banks and them how to run the program at Southern, but sometimes when you put two teams like Southern University versus FAMU, I need you to look at Atlanta. It'll be a shorter trip for the people of Tallahassee. It's a shorter trip for the people coming from Baton Rouge. But I just wanted to say that. And y'all mentioned the guy at Howard who defeated UNLV. That guy was named Mike London. He's now at William and Mary. Let me tell you something. That guy put together a super staff at Howard. I think he only stayed 2 years. He had Cam Newton's younger brother, but he put together a super staff. I know you got a lot of callers, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking.
Hey, appreciate the call, Mr. Ford.
Say those things. Okay. Have a good night, Ed.
Yeah. Let me okay. So coaching, has everything to do with your level of talent. If something were to happen to, God forbid, Willie Simmons, I'd definitely be going at Mike London. But Mike London won the FCS championship before. So he knows structurally what to do to build a team, what a championship culture looks like, what you need to do to establish belief, what kind of player you're going to go after, all of those things. And then having the support system behind you is necessary as well. As far as Atlanta goes, what people, even with the 15,000, 16,000 that were there at that game, Southern made over $1 million with the gate, the parking, because to park anywhere on the campus at Southern University, you're paying $20. And that money goes into athletics. They're making money with their concessions. They're making money with the RVs that are parking on the yard as well, in the whole tailgating thing. So they've been able to monetize that. So to get Southern to move that game, and definitely FAMU to move that game, which, you know, in Tallahassee, we're going to probably, next time Southern comes, we're going to have around the same number of people, 27, 30,000 people at the game. You know, that's $1 million gate.
Why would I give up a home game for a neutral site? That
now,
doesn't make
here's the deal. Here's the deal. If Atlanta, if there is a sponsor, I don't know who's listening, because I've been finding out that all kind of people been watching this show. So, so if there's a sponsor out there, or a group or a team of individuals out there that wants to have FAMU Southern, FAMU Tennessee State in the ATL and play, guarantee the schools a minimum of $750,000. But I'm talking about $1 million. You got to guarantee both schools $1 million plus. You got a calculator real quick? I'm not looking at it. I just want to look at this. All right. So let's say 50,000.
All right, hold on. Let me get to my calculator. All right, 50,000.
The last time FAMU Southern played, let's say 54,000. Put that in there. 54,000. FAMU Southern drew 54,000 in Atlanta last time we played. Times $35 a ticket.
$1.9 million.
That's $1.9 million. Okay. Let's put the ticket price at 45. That's my last one.
All right.
54,000 at $45 a ticket.
It's $2.4 million.
$2.4 million. Now, the thing about the ATL that's different is the ATL is going to give you additional businesses and corporations and different eyes that are going to be on the game. So there'll be more corporations, plus you got concessions, plus you got parking that you're going to have to pay for. So that game's going to, because it's $40 to park in the freaking. So really you're talking about $80. $80 to go to that game. MARTA's going to prosper. Your hotels are going to prosper. All of these things, the city commission is going to give a game. It's multiple millions. It's multi-millions that our fan bases are going to be pouring into that city. So what I'm saying is, if there is a sponsorship team that wants to do it, then it's fine. Because the Dome is going to cost, they're going to try to get us, you know, but you get somebody that understands how that whole negotiation process goes, then it's a big deal to be able to get it down. So, yeah.
Got you. When do you need to get up out of here, Mr. Kofi? I got about like 9 callers on.
Let's do those 9 and call it.
All right, that's too easy. Hey, question or comment? I let Mr. Ford rock because it's Mr. Ford, but the rest of y'all Bamas, come on, man, listen. Hey, caller. Hey, caller, you live.
Let Mr. Ford rock because it's Mr. Ford. Come on.
Hey, caller, you live.
Hello.
Yeah, you live. Question or comment?
Hey, how's it going?
What's good?
Hello.
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 Yeah, you live.
Okay, listen, I got a question for you. Yeah, I agree with you. Why would Southern or FAMU give up a home game to move it to a neutral site?
The answer is they're not, unless they're getting at least a guarantee of $750,000 or $1 million.
Turn your background down. Turn your background down.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, what's your next question?
Okay, my next question is that, Scott, you constantly talk about like the SWAC schools won't schedule certain FCS or FBS schools. You have to remember, even before Deion got to Jackson State, it all goes back to the ADs. These schedules are made out years ahead of time. And I do remember, like the other caller said before, Jackson State have played some of the biggest schools like the Ole Miss and the Mississippi State and the Southern in the past, which they did lose. But you have to remember, SWAC school schedules are made out way years in advance. And if this is going to change, this will have to be changed by the ADs.
Sir.
I mean, you're shaking your head, but that's true.
Sir, sir.
Yes.
I don't care about money games. I don't care about that. I've heard it from enough alumni that money games are to support athletics. I get it. I'm not saying that. Let me finish. My point is schedule competitive FCS games. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Schedule competitive FCS games. I don't care about Division II games. I don't care about none of that. And I don't care. It lets me know that you guys are scared to compete because I don't care about the money games. We know what that's for. But your AD should be scheduling high quality FCS competition.
What? That's what I said.
You didn't.
I said.
Yeah, I think he was saying, that it's on the ADs to do it, and the schedule, because the schedules are in advance. The schedule is what it is, but. Deion has the power. Deion says, look, let's take, because FBS schools do it all the time, especially when they changed the whole bowl narrative and said, hey, we're not going to be counting these little games and stuff. So if y'all don't take these other little schools off your schedule, then, you're going to cause the whole conference to be penalized with the whole strength of schedule thing. So people do it all the time. Take the Fort Valleys, take the other little schools off your schedule and schedule an FBS or FCS power and another FCS team, and then we can see where we at. Just take it from there. And our fans have to stop picking and choosing.
I don't know whether you understand. I don't know whether you want
what games they're going to come to.
But the money games are important sometimes because black schools, HBCU schools don't have the money that the Alabama, the Tennessee, the LSU don't have. So sometimes those games are important because we don't have the budget.
Y'all Bamas don't listen. I gave you that. I said you're playing power. I said I'm cool with the money games. It funds athletics. I said that. All I'm saying is outside of the money games, schedule competitive FCS competition. How many times do I have to say that on this channel?
And I also said it comes down to the ADs. That's what they have to change in the future.
Right. Next.
God,
no disrespect.
No, all the disrespect. Because I said that. Listen. Man. Hey, caller, you live. Talk to me.
Hello?
Hey, caller, you live. Conscious, you live.
What's good, bro?
What's good? Talk to me.
I'm good, man. I got to comment. And this spurred from something that was said earlier in the conversation regarding officiating and the referees in the SWAC, which is horrible. And that's just an understatement. But I want to say this. I think the players in the SWAC have become accustomed and trained with the poor officiating that goes on in the league. And it affects not only their technique, it affects the way they play the game. It affects the fundamentals overall that they have. And it definitely affects, of course, obviously the outcome of the game. And I think some of those players, a good percentage of those players have picked up horrendous and bad habits because officiating affects all of that. I have watched numerous games over the past few seasons where the umpires, the referees would just say, screw it. They see the obvious holding going on in the backfield and they won't do anything about it. You have wide receivers who are being trained to basically raise their arms up and hope for a pass interference call, which then continues to extend drives, which of course affect outcomes of games. And the SWAC office, they have to do something about it immediately because it's affecting the overall product on the field. And this is the main reason, one of the contributing main reasons why I personally believe this is why we get our heads beat in when we go out of conference and when we play teams who have an organized structure and fundamentals, because we're so accustomed to the way the officiating is in the SWAC that we don't know how to adapt to the current organized structure of officiating and playing football. So to the SWAC office, they have to do something about it immediately to improve the overall product on the field so that these guys can get a chance to showcase their skills at the next level. My second comment is in regards to NIL and the transfer portal. And of course, the effect that has had on the landscape of the NCAA football platform as we see it right now, and it's constantly evolving and changing. And we knew this going into the season, but I did not think that we would see it as severe as it looks right now, with all of these schools lobbying to join conferences to remain relevant. And with that being said, I think you're going to start to see coaching salaries go down tremendously. You're going to start to see the value of true coaching on the sidelines. You're probably going to see increased members come to the staff. And you're probably going to see long-term contracts now being extended to some of the coaches. But even more than that, the parity is so much relevant now in the game that they're probably going to have to do away eventually with FCS and FBS. And I honestly mean that. Because right now, I've never seen the landscape of so many teams be almost on an even playing field, even from an SEC standpoint. And then all of a sudden, having a large number of percentage of FCS teams beat FBS teams in 1 year. So I think the landscape is going to continue to change. I definitely think that SWAC has a chance with at least 6 to 8 members of the conference to move up to FBS if they choose to within the next 2 to 3 years. That's it.
Hey, appreciate the call, Conscious.
No doubt, bro.
All right, man. I will say this, and I know Conscious is always a little long-winded, but he does make some good points. I do like the referee point, but my big point on the topic is I really think, and I sent a text message to Blue about this. I think the FCS and FBS should split apart. I'm sorry. Power 5 and Group of 5 should split apart, and they have their own playoff, and the Power 5 have their own thing to do, because when you have teams like Cincy who make a run, they're always going to get pushed down because they always think that the play of LSU, Alabama, and their games are just that much more important. So those teams lose out when they have great records or undefeated seasons. But
just really, even just going back to the refs, and I'm challenging everybody that is under the sound of my voice on this particular broadcast. If you've seen how dysfunctional our officiating is, write the SWAC office. Encourage your fan base to write the SWAC office and cause the commissioner to at least look at developing a system that's going to improve the level of officiating in our conference. Until we get our dollars and or until we raise our voice to confront the dysfunction, is going to remain.
Facts, big facts. And let me address somebody real quick. Let me address somebody because I like to address these. Bro, let me go back a little further. Let me see. If you don't have patience for people, you need to do something else. Bro, let me holler at you, Xavier, real quick. If you dealt with the foolishness that I have to deal with of the constant repeat of stuff I've already said, anybody would get frustrated. Anybody would be annoyed, okay? So first of all, and I don't give a damn that you're a member. If you want to leave because I'm addressing you and all that, happily take your little money somewhere else. I do not care, okay? I do not care. But my thing is this. Simply saying that I have more patience than most of y'all Bammers on this chat, All right. I don't like to repeat myself, and you're telling me I didn't say something when I did. So mind your manners, my boy. Mind your manners. I'm in a blocking mood this week, so I will block the hell out you. And at the same time, you never call in. You a grown ass man in the chats, comment like a little chatty girl, but never call in. And I got a call in show, and you still on this boy. Come on, man. Stop playing me. All right. Next up. Sorry, it's my bad. Hey, Coach. Hey, Coach Pep, you live. Talk to me.
For the Florida A&M guy, Scotty recognized this a long time ago, and so did I. You got your guy Bishop Bonnet. He's a senior this year, and he's been playing the position of running back. Now, I don't see him projected in the NFL as a running back. I see him as a slot receiver. But since he's a senior, he won't have that. He won't have an opportunity to prove what he'll be able to do at the slot. He looks like a Tariq Hill as a slot receiver. But the good thing about him is that since you got 3 teams in Florida, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, and Miami, there's 3 pro days he can do. So he should be, I don't know Coach Simmons or whoever, but this guy, they're going to want to see him work as a slot receiver and a kick returner. Now, and I've seen the little kid over there for Alcorn, what's his name? The little running back. He's in the same situation, but he got 2 years to switch his position to slot receiver. But Bishop Bonnet is I would say as a slot, he could be a 3rd round draft pick. Now, I've seen a lot of guys call up and saying that if these kids were at different schools, they would have a better chance at the NFL, a better chance. But let me tell you this here. A kid can be at an NAIA school. You got area scouts. These are area scouts. They come in there after each game and look at your game.
What's the comment or question?
You got somebody that's making noise, they're going to look at his tape.
Where's this going? Where are we going? Where are we going with this?
What I want, my thing is that I want to know from the Florida A&M guy, does he see what I see in Bishop? I know you do, Scotty.
Gotcha.
Bishop Bonnet is extremely tough. He's extremely talented. He's versatile, and he's one of those guys that's willing to do anything for his team, as you saw on last week. I do see that talent, and the coaches see that talent. I'm not sure if he's going to get a high level of opportunity. I do think that he is still in, even if he walks on as a free agent or goes in and signs as a free agent, an undrafted free agent, he's going to, people are going to see it, and he eventually get a shot. So that's what I'm
Here's my other question. So as far as the recruit goes, a lot of you're right. These schools can't compete with Jackson. I've seen 3 years ago. I seen Coach Dooley at the LSU camp, and Jamar Chase was a freshman, but Dooley, that camp was a senior camp at LSU. But Dooley got some players from Louisiana from that camp because he was there. Deion thing is that Deion know all the trainers in these different states. Deion is like nationwide. He's not like just in Jackson. Whereas like a team like Alcorn, they recruiting is lower level recruiting. They searching the transfer portal. Whereas these guys like Deion, but Deion probably wouldn't be able to go into a satellite camp because they know Deion would probably steal players from there. But Dooley and other coaches are able to go in these satellite camps and talk to kids and maybe recruit on that level. But it's not just you just can't sit back and recruit and wait on the transfer portal.
I appreciate the call.
Kids,
yeah, my head is hurting. I'm sorry. Okay. You can't stop. You guys got to stop comparing Deion to regular coaches. That just has to get taken out your vocabulary. Okay. Everybody knows Deion is nationwide. Everybody knows that. All right, he's Deion freaking Sanders. He has over 1 million people on Instagram. Okay, go to your local coach's Instagram and see what they got. They probably got 8,000 people. Okay, so he reaches a massive audience. People are going to follow him. People want to go to the school. I know a kid at an HBCU mega camp came up to me and said, "Hey, Scotty, I watch your show. I know you interviewed Deion. Can you tell him about me?" Like, that's the kind of stuff I deal with. No, Mr. Kofi, no bullcrap. I deal with it all the time. People reach out to me, "Hey, Scotty, I saw the interview with Deion. Can you let Deion know I play wide receiver at such and such school?" Like, people just want to be a part of it. It is
people
what it is.
People are starstruck, and I get it because they want that hookup. They want that connection. Many of our players have had daddy issues, and so they're looking up to individuals that have made it, thinking that it's going to be that. But Deion's going to get the very best of the best. And I will say, he is going to.
Thought you might like that one. Thought you might like that one. Thought you might like that one. Go ahead.
You done messed up my train of thought. Yeah, burn it. All right.
Oh,
so, man. Yeah, I do think, here's the deal. I know for a fact with FAMU doing the whole stuff with the Why Not Us, the Will Packer thing, our homecoming, we've got a lot of stuff to sell. And I think that other HBCUs like your Howards, your Gramblings that have that history, that have that tradition, that have that fan base, just need to tap in and push. And that's what it's all about. All right, next.
All right, I got to address somebody. NOLA 6. If it's whack, why you here?
Next.
I mean, what we doing? What we doing? Hey, caller, you loud. Talk to me.
Yo, Scotty. Hey, Kofi, this one for you because I know you're a fan guy. You know how that grandma, when we won the Southern game, that grandma walked up down the aisle feeling herself, and she started singing that song, Work It Out. Fam got a playoff big dude. Work it out, and we going to beat Bethune too. Work it out, man. Work it out.
Work it out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Work it out.
Yes, sir. And do you think we'd be ranked at least in the 20s by the end of the season? Because
it depends on how
right now.
Yeah, it depends on how we come out these last two games and what happens ahead of us. Some of these teams are going to lose. There's some of the teams that are in there that are not even going to be playing in the playoffs for whatever reason because of their conference. It might be Ivy League or whatever. So, we on a wing and a prayer, but it'll work out. He's an on-time God. That's what we believe in. So, next.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, last caller. Hey, Smoke, you live. You the last one.
Yo, what's up, my boy?
What's up? Talk to me.
Oh, no, what you eat today, Scotty?
Huh? What I eat today? What they gotta do with anything?
I was just joking. I had to get off topic a little bit because I saw y'all was getting a little heated with the whole, how people is asking the same questions and stuff.
Oh,
I got a comment and a question.
Talk to me.
The comment is, we never played against Ole Miss. I don't know where that guy got that from. Mississippi State, USM, yeah, but we never played against Ole Miss. Second question is, if you're PV this week, going into this Alcorn game, we know Alcorn is a tough team, but they've lost the last 2 weeks. What are you doing to make sure that you come out with a win?
For
and
PV?
Do you feel as if Alcorn
don't turn the ball over.
Does they
Stick with your guns and don't turn the ball over.
Don't turn the ball over?
That's it. When you turn the ball over on the road, it's just a different vibe. You're giving the team momentum. You're giving the team life. You're giving them opportunities and touches. Even if you just look at the science of what happens with the offense, the reason why this whole rush thing and people are talking about tempo is that you get to run more plays. When you turn the ball over, the opposing team gets an opportunity to run more plays, which wears your defense down. So if I'm on the road, knowing what's at stake with Prairie View, you just stick with your guns, understanding that you got a more physical, you got a better team, you got a better defense. You just stick with your guns. Don't turn the ball over. You'll be fine.
Okay. And last thing, I saw a comment that said if Alcorn beats PV, that necessarily means they're going to give Jack State a hard time. is that actually true? Because if that's the case, if Jackson State beats Southern, that means
none of that science. One of the things that I think football fans need to understand is that each individual game is each individual game. Just because so-and-so struggled or just because somebody blew out XYZ does not mean that your team's going to come in and blow out this team. It does not mean that. Every matchup is different. And especially when it comes to rivalry games, I don't care what your record is. I don't care who's on your squad. In that rivalry game, you throw your records, you throw your coaches, you throw all that stuff out the window. Anything can freaking happen because these kids are going to come in there. They're going to give it their all. Alcorn understands their rep is at stake. Alcorn definitely has a chance to beat Jackson State. Jackson State is not invincible. But the difference is it's just going to come down to who executes the most on that day, who brings the right energy at the right time, who's making the plays at the right time, who believes that they can take it over the top and do what they need to do to basically win the game. And that's what it boils down to. Yeah, but stop all that comparison.
Now,
if we beat them by 30, then the next team going, no, it doesn't matter that because it's totally different styles, totally different personnel, new week, new game. You're dealing with weather patterns, grass, turf, all that stuff.
Right.
I appreciate the call, Smoke.
Okay, Scotty or Mr. Oh, okay. All right, appreciate it.
All right, no problem. I try to get you up out of here. I'm closing the call lines down. Appreciate the time you had today, Mr. Kofi.
Appreciate you, man.
Nah, anytime. Also, guys, make sure you go check out him. Check Mr. Kofi at
the O&G Strike Zone. We're going to be on Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. The O&G Strike Zone on Wednesdays at 8:00 p.m. You can check us out on Twitter, O&G Strike Zone, Facebook, O&G Strike Zone, or YouTube, O&G Strike Zone. Subscribe, like, share, etc., etc. We're going to have a good time. And I'm looking forward to having Mr. Scotty on real soon. So please, people, go ahead. Let's make this thing happen. O&G Strike Zone.
Y'all don't want me on that channel. Y'all don't want me on that channel.
Come through.
Yeah,
we got to convert you, bring you on through, baptize you in the orange and green.
Listen, y'all don't want me on the channel because I'll say something. Y'all be like, Scotty, you can't say that. I'm like, oh, this ain't my channel. I kind of get loose on my stuff. But no, appreciate you as always, Mr. Kofi. Hey,
yes, sir.
Have a great birthday. Have your wife have a great birthday. I know you're a Scorpio as well. Shout out to you, Scorpio season. And as always, appreciate you for being here.
Absolutely, man. Love you, man. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Hey guys, once again, I appreciate you guys for being out. I'm gonna go through these announcements real quick before I get up out of here. All right. Follow my Facebook page. All right, OFFScript. All right. It's probably all lowercase, top lowercase, whatever. It's a business page. Just find it. Subscribe, follow, whatever they allow you to do. All right. Upcoming show. Wild Out Wednesday, bands are included. So if you played the triangle, if you played the recorder, if you played the cello, you know what I'm saying? Any of those instruments, okay? Any of those, any wind, percussion, I don't know, all them stuff. All right. So if you played any of those, you can call in, talk about it, be about it, talk your mess, talk your trash, Human Jukebox, Sonic Boom, Jackson State Tigers, Southern whatevers. All right. Just everybody, la-di-da, can get on this call and talk your mess. All right. Also, the podcast is out. Like Ty said, she has followed. She's a supporter. Make sure you do it the same as well. I know you guys like to follow Ty. I know you guys are like, stalking her. So whatever she does, y'all do. So make sure y'all join the podcast. All right. And last but not least, also, we will have a round table on Thursday. All right, round table on Thursday. Paris, I'm not doing no band talking. I just let people talk they mess. Listen, I ain't doing no band talk, so you won't hear nothing from me. All right, so we will have a we have a round table. Me and my boy Blue, we got some special guests for y'all. No, CFL is not a part of it. No, HBCU Spotlight is not a part of it. So don't be in here talking about some CFL ain't got his internet back yet. That's why. No. All right. CFL is a very, very busy man. All right. He works weird hours and stuff like that. So that's what it is. But roundtable will be on Thursday. All right. Not Wednesday, Thursday. I'm going to try to do a show every day this week. It is the Boombox Classic. It is what it is. All right. So appreciate you guys for tuning in with me. And you already know what it is. Until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.